Hi guys, Ashley here, Ultimate Stage League fan. I'm back today with another video, and today I'm going to be talking about One Tree Hill. I'm going to be re-ranking the seasons because I just finished One Tree Hill not too, like a few weeks ago. I just finished the series, so this is not my first time rewatching the show. I rewatch this show every time. Like there'll be like a point period when I feel like I need to rewatch One Tree Hill, and I always end up rewatching it. Not only do I end up rewatching the series, but I just end up rewatching like some of my favorite moments, some of my favorite episodes, or like I watch my favorite episodes from like my favorite season. Being my favorite season is season three. I know that I'm very lazy when it comes to these topic videos, but I'm like really trying to be more consistent. But like it's like if I'm not making a topic video, then I'm making an editing video. So yeah, but let's get into today's video. For those who don't know, One Tree Hill was a American teen drama show that aired on the WB from 2003 from 2012, and it was very popular during its run. It ran for 9 seasons, and a lot of people. This show has such a huge fan base. I think it even have a more of a bigger fan base now since a lot of people found it like over quarantine because it's streaming on Hulu, it's streaming on HBO Max, it's on Amazon. Like you can watch this show anywhere. Like that's how popular it is. And One Tree Hill came on right after Dawson's Creek went off air. Personally, I feel like a lot of people would like to say there are some. I do feel like Mark Shohan did um, make some of his characters like Dawson's Creek, but I definitely feel like the One Tree Hill characters are far more complex and far more interesting and far more just captivating. Dawson's Creek is one of the worst teen drama shows I've ever seen in my life, and if you're a fan of that show and you take any offense to that, I really don't know what to tell you. I'm not changing my opinion. I stopped watching during the middle of season two. It is the most boring, most one dimensional, emotionless show I've ever watched. That show was not saying anything interesting about teenagers, or it doesn't really have no real important message. Like, none of the characters, but Pacey was probably the only real interesting character with any ounce of charisma. I couldn't stand Joey. Couldn't stand Dawson. Jen was extra. Like these characters are just so one dimensional and like such a footnote. I can't believe the show ran for 6 seasons. Like honestly couldn't I don't understand why my fans watched after season one. Season one was so boring. But it isn't about Dawson's Creek, but I do feel like One Tree Hill is by far a way better show, and just it's way more successful. Way more people remember this show than they'll ever remember Dawson's Creek. But I'm gonna make a video about Dawson's Creek coming soon. Y'all just wait. But let's get into this ranking because I have the ranking for One Tree Hill. This is the newer ranking. So some of these seasons might be in a different ranking order. You might not agree. You might not. You might agree or disagree. But me personally, I feel like this is the proper way to rank the seasons, in my opinion. So coming to number 9 is season 8. I for the longest I thought season 7 was the worst season. Don't get me wrong. Season 7 is a terrible season, but it doesn't even compare to season 8. There was nothing interesting about this season. Nothing happened in this season. Like 22 episodes of like really nothing. The only real thing that happened in the season was that Brooke and Julian got married and Brooke finally was able to have kids. Was finally able to have babies. That's it. Like I feel like season 7 was like the the eye widening for realizing that this show needs to go off air. But once you hit seasons 8 and 9, you really realize that the show really ran past its peak and it should have ended a long time ago. And it was really just I'm gonna discuss that when we get to the next season. But season 8 was really boring. Like I don't really remember what arc Nathan had, what arc Haley had. Clay and Quinn are still here for whatever reason. I think Julian has no real arc. He's so one dimensional and like he's so bland and so uninteresting. I think the one guy that Brooke was fooling around with in season 4, I think he came back. Him and Mia became a relationship. Him and I think him, Mia, and that girl Alex had a love triangle. Like, why are these characters in this show? They have like no real arc. Like this show really just dragged past this point at this time. The only real good interesting episode was the hurricane episode when we all thought Brooke almost died. But that was the only interesting thing to come out of this season. Season 8 sucks. This season is terrible. Nothing happened in this season. So let's just get off of it. Coming number 8 is season 7. This is where it felt like One Tree Hill kind of went into like a reboot kind of the show. Like we're gonna do different type of storylines, different bring in new characters, bring in new story arcs, new character arcs, and try to get the audience to forget about not forget, but to try to fill in the void of Lucas and Peyton, Hillary Burton, and Chad Michael Murray. And those two characters, that's just being honest, One Tree Hill was built off those two characters. Like that's keep it 100. Chad Murray and Hillary were obviously the two characters that Mark Shohan was completely obsessed with. They were the two most captivating characters in my opinion, and the show just didn't feel the same once they left. Like it just didn't feel the same once they left. You can really tell that the show losing Lucas and Peyton, losing Hillary and Chad, really affected the show in such a big shift. Like the show instantly jumped the shark. Like none of the storylines were interesting here either. But the only storyline to me that really stuck out was the stuff with Haley and her mother. That that was a really great storyline. Bethany really gave her all in that performance. And I always feel like the biggest problem with Haley's character was that Haley didn't really have enough storylines really focused on her enough as an individual. Not saying that she always lived in Nathan's light, but like they just didn't really focus much on her like as an individual, like not enough storylines. Like there'll be certain seasons where they decide to pick her as a like a person to focus on, and then there'll be seasons where they decide not to. Like in season 5 they decide to focus on her dealing with Nathan, doing his comeback, which was really good. Bethany was delivering great performances in season 5, and then in season 6 she didn't really do much in season 6. Like yeah, she was on her comeback for music, but like, I don't. Not that I didn't care about that, but they didn't really do nothing with it. Is what I'm trying to really say. They didn't really do nothing with it, but I still do love Haley's character. But this storyline was really good. Her dealing with her grief turning into depression. Like Bethany really delivered some really great performances. Like my favorite performance that she delivered during this storyline was the piano scene where she tried to write a song and a candle accidentally fell on the piano and it lit the piano up. And no, she dropped her wine. Sorry, she dropped her wine and then she dropped the candle on top of the wine, lighting up the piano that Nathan got her in season 2, burning it. I thought it was a really great scene, her just looking at the flames. Like I thought it was just a really great metaphoric way of the audience realizing the pain that she really going through. Like kind of like the fire is representing like her grief. Like it just keep rising up to the surface. It just doesn't really seem to ever be going out. Like that's such a great message. Like this is the I feel like Haley's storyline was the last great storyline Winter Hill had, in my opinion. Like that was like saying something. I know that might be like an unpopular opinion to people, but I feel like that was the last good Winter Hill storyline. Like I actually like felt any real fucking emotion. So yeah, other than that, this season sucks. I didn't care for Brooke and Julian's boring ass love story. They had zero chemistry to me. I was just getting really sick and tired of them. I really wish they would have gave Brooke another love interest, someone who's just more interesting as a person. Like Julian was just not interesting. He wasn't romantic. He wasn't he had like no real arc, like he had like no real flaws. Like it was like he wasn't. It was like they made him like. I'm not saying I have like if his character was to be just Mr. Perfect, they should have done a little bit more with that. I just didn't feel it with his character. I'm sorry. Him and Brooke, they just weren't doing it for me. Her and Julian had zero chemistry. I didn't feel not 1 ounce of anything with them whenever I watched them. Sorry. Coming in at number 7 is season 9. This is one of the worst final seasons I've ever seen for any TV show. I honestly can't even tell you what I think the worst final season is for a show because I just feel like they all kind of meshed together. Uh, yeah, season 9 was ridiculous. Season 9, the whole ransom when Nathan getting kidnapped for money, I thought that was a really tad bit ridiculous. I honestly just felt like they honestly could come up with a better. I think season 9 had, I think, 13 episodes. They couldn't come up with like better episodes for this season. Like I thought all of it was just ridiculous. I thought it was ridiculous that all of a sudden Dan can die. He can die now in his episode. When he said he had 6 months to live, but he looked fine in season 7, and then season 8 he was nowhere to be seen, and then out of nowhere he pops up out of season 9, and he's so sick now. Like that storyline was just so inconsistent. I think that's when it was just really hard for me to feel anything in his episode, and I just hate Dan in general. So the fact that the audience is gonna try to manipulate me into crying over his death, fuck out. It's not happening. I didn't cry over his death. Me personally, I still don't feel like he deserved a redemption arc. If you think he did, that's your opinion. And me personally, no, hell no, hell to the fucking no. If this is just a side note, if they would have given Dan a redemption arc, like let's say if he was just a scumbag that treated Nathan like he controlled Nathan, he controlled Deb. He doesn't want nothing to do with Lucas. He thinks Lucas is just a wedlock child, a bastard, and he hates his brother because he feels like Keith stole Karen, took his family away, the real family that he wanted, away from him. If they would have had just made it seem like Dan was just a scumbag, but he can try to change. If they would have had given him a redemption arc in season 2 because he had that heart attack and he could have realized that life was too short. Okay, I could have believed in that, but in season 2, nothing changed with him, and then season 3, nothing changed with him. But the moment he shot Keith, spoiler alert, that was really the end for me. I just really feel like there was no turning back for him. And it was just no way the audience, that the writers were going to convince me that this man who shot his brother in cold blood, without thinking twice about it, is going to get a redemption arc. No. So yeah, season 9 was ridiculous. The only reason why I rank this season higher than 7 and 8 is because the last episode was really good. I liked the last episode with the guy, Gavin Dewan, singing the theme song and Trick. I thought it was a great way to send off the series, even though this season sucked. Like, all the episodes leading up to this moment sucked. It didn't even feel like a season finale. It just felt like another season of One Tree Hill. There was nothing special about this finale at all. Naley became really boring in these seasons. I did like the final rain scene with them. It was really great, but still, like, they really given up on Naley. I just feel like this was the time. This is when the writers just didn't know what else to do with them as their marriage. Maybe they just feel like they were already layered out. It was nothing really more for them to do. They felt like side characters, even though Nathan, Haley, and Brooke were the only ones that kept people from the who kept the casual fans who watched the show to keep watching. So, yeah. Moving on to number 6, season 2. Now, I was never really someone that was like, who believed that season 2 was just a terrible season. And I don't think season 2 is a terrible season, but a lot of fans think it's terrible. Now, what I will say is that out of the high school seasons, this is the weakest. to me. Season 2 has some very confusing writing, some very incontinuity moments, and like characters who shouldn't be in this season, and like uh I'm not gonna say character questioning moments because in One Tree Hill these characters are allowed to make mistakes and find a way to resolve them. But you do have to question a little bit of decisions that some of these characters is made out of the blue. Like for example, Lucas moving in with Dan for like that was dumb to me. I thought that was so stupid. I definitely did not agree with Luke with the writers saying that Lucas should move in with him. I thought that was atrocious. Um, but season 2 was I still think it's good, even though it does have its moments of like weakness. Like there are some episodes that are just like really boring to get through. Like it feels like a very slow season. Like it does pick up for like a little bit, but then like it slows down. And like I feel like and I heard that that season 2 was highly rushed into production because the ratings were very high and the WB before it became CW really wanted to put season 2 out there before it was too late. So I think maybe that was the problem, is that maybe it was rushed back into production. But I do think season 2 is the weakest out of the high school seasons. I don't think it's terrible. Way better than season 7, 8, and 9. More watchable, but there are some moments and storylines that I feel like could have been more fleshed out or could have been avoided. Felix and Anna being an example of characters that should have not existed. In a storyline that I wish they would have had done more with is Peyton's drug storyline. I say it. I said it once and I'll say it again. They could have done a lot more with that if they would have had fleshed it out, but they didn't. Um. So yeah, coming number 5 is season 6. Season 6 was a really great season. I absolutely enjoyed it. Lathan, Lucas, and Peyton were the MVPs of this season. This is really their final season. I really enjoyed everything with Nathan's comeback. Quentin dying was a very emotional episode. I wasn't really expecting myself to cry, but I really shed some tears. Like Mark, the one thing about One Tree Hill, like Dan dying, like Mark Shanahan never fails to disappoint, to make the audience feel the depths. Like say if I'm not crying, but like the scene is like beautifully written. Like that's what I mean. Like I didn't cry when Dan died, but the scene was beautifully written with Dan like apologizing and telling Haley that she's the best thing that ever happened to Nathan, and that he just wanted to hold his grandkids for one last time before he passed. Like it was beautifully written. I just didn't cry when he passed. But like, you get my point. Like Quentin, his funeral was very beautifully shot, very beautifully written. What Brooke being there to confront Jamie putting down the red. Let me pause the stream. Jamie putting down the red. Because I'm getting emotional because it was such a sad episode. So let me calm down. Jamie putting down the red. What is it? It's a red cape. Jamie was putting down the red cape. Sorry, I was trying to stop the train because like it was such a sad episode. Like Jamie putting down the red cape and like Brooke being there to confront him. Like it was just really a great scene. And like we gotta talk about Sophie. Like Sophie Bush really delivered with her storyline with Brooke getting attacked. Like that was some really great fucking acting by Sophie. Like we all know Sophia, she could act. We all knew she could act. But that was a great storyline. But to me, where I feel like they fucked it up was by introducing Sam. Like I didn't like her and Sam's dynamic. I honestly wish they would have had just never ever did that. I feel like what it would have made more sense is that if Brooke would have got Angie back and kept Angie as a kid, and if Sam would have, if Lucas, not say Lucas, if Nathan and Haley would have adopted Sam instead, I feel like that should have been reversed. I feel like they just gave her Sam because Angie was gone, and I didn't like that. I didn't like her and Sam's dynamic. I didn't feel no real parent and kid dynamic, it just felt out of place. It felt awkward. And then I don't even like, and then she just leaves. Like, and that's the stupid thing. Like, why even introduce her character if she's not even in 7 and 8? I think she went back to her real mom. She found her mom and went back to her. Like, I just feel like that was just a waste of time. Like, they could have just got Angie back, because the moment where Brooke gave Angie, oh, we're gonna get into that, but season 6 was a great season. Like, everything about it was good. It was emotional. It had great acting. It had great moments, and it not only that, season 6 had a great send off to the series. This is the season, I said it once, I'll say it again, where the show should have ended. Uh, Coming in number 4 is season 5. Season 5 is one of my favorite seasons. If I had to say my top 5, it would be 6, 5, 1, 4, and 3. Those are my top 5 favorite seasons for One Tree Hill, and 5 is, to me, is the best season from the adult seasons. Everything season 5 gave what it needed to give. Everything with Lucas and Peyton, it ate. Everything with Nathan and Haley ate. I loved everything with Brooke wanted to find what makes her happy, and wanting a family, and just wanting more outside of her business. Everything about the season was really good. I didn't care for Mouth. I didn't The Nanny Carey thing could have easily been flushed down the toilet. I absolutely hate that they did that. I definitely agree with the person. They should have focused more on Nathan's comeback than throwing fucking Nanny Carey in the loop. I thought that was just really ridiculous, but whatever. And that storyline just felt really rushed and out of nowhere. But either than that, season 5 was really good. Like, I definitely feel like this was Hillary and Chad ate all of their scenes together. My favorite scene, and I think this is the best acting scene in One Tree Hill, period. And y'all could come for me. Is season 5, episode 6, with Chad and Hillary, when Hillary delivered a great performance. I definitely feel like she doesn't get enough credit for her performances in the show. Me personally, I think she's the best female performer. I know I said it was Sophie, but I feel like now that I watch the show now that I'm older, I honestly feel like it's Hillary. I think Hillary was the best female performer. I feel like she put so much emotion, like she gave everything to her character that I just never seen before. Sophie was good too, but like, I think the difference between Hillary and Sophie is that Sophie was good. Now, I'm not saying she wasn't good all the time. She was good in like even like simple scenes, but like I feel like Sophie was really good at her emotional stuff. Like, she was really good at being sad. Hillary was good all the time. It didn't matter if it was a sad scene, a simple scene, any scene. Hillary was just knocking it out the park all the time. We talk about all the way back from season 1. Hillary was always good. Um, like, all her Lucas scenes were just really great. Like, the scene in episode 6 was really great when she said we were destined to be together. You said it to the world. You said it to me. Where they just honest, they had like a real heated talk about what happened 4 years ago, and I thought it was a really great scene. Honestly, in the scene where she said goodbye, I thought that was a really great scene where she said she loved him, and that she thinks she always has since the first time that they locked eyes, and that she gotta let him go. Like, it was just really a very, like, you can't take away her acting in those scenes. Like, Hillary did that. So season 5 was a great season. Me personally, this is the best season out of the adult seasons. I don't care what anyone says. Coming in number 3 is season 1. I mean, do I even have to go in depth with season 1? Season 1 was a great character introduction. Period. Everything in the season gave, from the relationships, to the drama, to the romance, to the storylines, everything, to the characters, everything in this season 8. There's probably like a few episodes you can skip, but other than that, this is a great season. This is definitely an A+ season. This is the best season 1 season of any show. Eat that. Coming in at number two is season four. Season four was a great season. This is definitely how you do a final high school season, in my opinion. Some teen drama shows just don't know how to get it right with this. Like everything about the season was so good. From the build up for with Lucas and Peyton was great. Finally breaking up Lucas and Brooke. I think we had enough of that. That travesty relationship. Nathan getting pregnant was great. Nathan getting his dream and then losing it because of the points. Even that Nathan making bets and everything like that to pay for the rent. Everything was so good. The the build up to Lucas finding out that Dan killed Keith. Everything was good. Everything about the season fucking ate. The only character that I didn't give a fuck about was Brooke. Brooke was the worst in this season. They didn't give her no real good storyline, no real good arc. The only good thing that came from her character was her dynamic with Chase and Rachel. That's it. But like the storylines they gave her were stupid. I never understood why they introduced a teacher and student storyline. I feel like One Tree Hill was just I feel like they were a different type of show, and I feel like that storyline kind of disappoints me knowing that Mark Shohan or whoever the hell decided to make that a storyline. I just didn't like it. I thought it was stupid and it wasn't interesting. Like usually storylines like that are full of drama and some sort of suspense, but it wasn't interesting at all. So yeah, season four was really good. It's the the scene where Lucas and Payne got together, where he realized his triumph wasn't a fucking state championship, but it was Peyton all along. They were always meant to be together. That is the best episode of season four, the state championship episode, episode 9. That was a great episode, the best episode. And the last episode was really good too, with them all having that final moment at the River Court, where it kind of like where it all began for all the characters. So I thought that was a really great send off for the final season of their high school. It was a really season four was a really good season. And coming in number one is season three. This season is a masterpiece, completely iconic season. Everything from start to finish is amazing. There's not one boring episode in this season. Every episode is really good. Every character had an arc, from Lucas all the way to fucking Deb. Everyone has some sort of importance in this season. Even fucking Mouth, who I don't like. Everyone has some. I'm not saying that just because Mouth had importance means that I cared about it. I didn't. But I like the introduction of Rachel. I thought she was a great character. I wish she would have stayed as a season regular. Everything about the season was so good, especially the school shooting. The school shooting episode was really, really great. Like that was a really good episode. It had suspense. It had emotion. The moment that gunshot went off and Jimmy, killed himself, and Lucas had that "Does this darkness have a name?" quote. One of the most chilling moments in the show. And then Dan coming out of nowhere in the hallway, not Paul Johnson, not saying a word, picked up the gun and shot Keith in cold blood. One of the best acting scenes, one of the most beautifully shot scenes with no talking. One of the most masterful scenes I've ever seen. It was such a great way to end off the episode on a massive cliffhanger. And like the episodes after that with people grieving over Keith were like really, really emotional. Like watching episodes I cried so much during this season. Like I cried so much. Like the episodes after Keith died were really great episodes. Like I was crying so hard like I knew Keith in real life. I love Keith. Like we gotta talk about Peyton's storyline with her mom. That was a great storyline too. I really wish it didn't end the way it did, but like it was such a great storyline. Like we had like Hillary was a great performer in One Tree Hill. Like I honestly feel like she was the best actress. Like Sophie and Bethany were not touching Hillary. I'm gonna just say that right now. They were not touching her. They couldn't do what Sophie couldn't pull off what Hillary pulled off when she walked in and saw that Shelly was dead. Like, they couldn't have pulled that scene off. That was a great scene with Peyton just walking in and breaking down and falling to the ground with the CDs and just crying mercifully. It was such a great scene with just the music playing in the background and everything building up to that scene with her mom putting on what's the song? It's called it's a regular. It's called something, but she said that was one of her favorite songs, and she put it on while she was dying. Like, it was such a great build up to that scene. Like, it made even the death scene even fucking worse. Looking at Hillary's reaction, it made it even worse. So like, season 3 is the best season. Like, in the wedding episode, one of the best seasons. No, not one of. It's the best season finale of all time. Like, season 3 is a fucking masterpiece season. If you want to know how I do season 3, watch One Tree Hill season 3. That is how you do season 3 for a teen drama or for any show that you're gonna do. This is how you do season 3. But that's all I have for you guys today. This video was really long. But it was worth it. One Tree Hill is my favorite show of all time. It's the best teen drama show of all time. No show is ever gonna touch it. It's up here while other shows are down here. So yeah, I'm thinking about making another unpopular opinions video for it because I only made one video for it, and I feel like now that I've rewatched the show, I feel like I got a lot more shit I want to say. I feel like I just said a whole bunch in this video right now, because a lot of people say that Sophie is the best actress, but honestly, Hillary was always the best actress on the show. Like, Hillary had the best scenes, the best performances. Like I just said, Sophie could not have pulled off what Hillary pulled off in that scene when she found Shelly. And I'm pretty sure there's some shit that Hillary couldn't have pulled off that Sophie did. But if you're gonna ask me who performances I prefer, Hillary's. I'm gonna say Hillary's because her performance was just better. So we could talk about it, but I'm probably going to mention that in my car opinions. Let's talk about some of my favorite Hillary scenes and why they're just like really great scenes. So at the end of the day, this is Ashley. Thanks for following my channel. Subscribe for more and have a great day.